Wouldn't you agree that there's nothing as good as a classic Western showdown to get your heart racing? From iconic duels to intense showdowns, here are 10 fastest gun draws by actors in Hollywood history. Number 10. Lee Van Cleef. Starting off strong, we will begin with Lee Van Cleef. Born Clarence Leroy Van Cleef Jr. on January 9, 1925, there is no denying that he was an accomplished American actor and producer. We mean, during a career that spanned nearly 4 decades, he appeared in over 170 films and television shows. Not a lot of people can beat that. While he is best remembered for his standout roles in Sergio Leone's iconic Italian westerns like For a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, his contributions to westerns were so significant that in 1983 he received the Golden Boot Award. Do you need any more proof of his legendary status in the genre? Notably, Van Cleef's fascination with firearms played a notable role in shaping his career. It's really no surprise he became skilled with them, as he made his screen debut in 1952's classic High Noon. Following this, he often took on villainous roles in westerns. At some point, it was pretty obvious that he favored the genre. His distinctive eyes, one green and the other blue, added to his on-screen presence. Put together, he had everything to position himself as a memorable figure in Hollywood. Though he considered retiring from acting in the mid-1960s to focus on painting, everything changed in 1965 when Sergio Leone cast him in For a Few Dollars More. This role catapulted him to stardom in Europe and reignited his career in the United States. Suddenly, Van Cleef became a household name once more, achieving worldwide fame seemingly overnight. By 1966, he starred in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and then in The Big Gun Down in 1967. Now let's actually get down to it. While he was renowned for his outstanding acting roles in classic westerns, he also earned a reputation for his gun handling skills. This, of course, included his speed with his draw. Sure, we mentioned the eyes and his cold, calm demeanor when playing both villainous and anti-hero characters, but his proficiency with firearms was also a very significant aspect of his on-screen presence. Though Van Cleef may not have been as technically famous in the fast draw world as specialists like Arno Ojala or Sammy Davis Jr., he still developed an impressive speed that added authenticity to his Western characters. His experience as an actor in the genre, combined with the frequent use of firearms on screen, meant that he honed his ability to draw and shoot quickly and accurately. As you can imagine, his ability to handle firearms with such precision was integral to his success in westerns, which often required convincing gunfights and face-offs. Now, Van Cleef's draw was not just about speed though, it was about his style. His slow, deliberate movements built tension, and when he did draw, it was swift and exact. This combination of calm intensity and lethal precision made him one of the more memorable Western actors. In iconic films like For a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, both directed by Sergio Leone, Van Cleef's character was beyond menacing. His quick draw abilities certainly played a central role in building that persona. Although Van Cleef was not a fast draw professional like some other names on this list, he made up for it with dedication. You see, he trained rigorously for his roles and worked closely with professional experts just to perfect his technique. His practice and dedication enabled him to draw his gun quickly enough to hold his own in scenes with other fast draw legends. Ultimately, Lee Van Cleef's draw wasn't just about speed, but about a combination of technical skill and cinematic presence. This, of course, has solidified his place as one of the most memorable gunslingers in film history.
Come to think of it, he's no gentleman at all. He's the son of a yellow-bellied sow.
Number 9. Kirk Douglas. When you think tough guy roles and intense screen presence, we believe Kirk Douglas comes to mind. What you might not have realized is that he also became associated with fast-draw gunfights during his career in westerns. While he wasn't known for being a natural fast-draw specialist like some names further down on the list, Douglas eventually developed formidable gun handling skills that added realism and credibility to his performances in the genre. Kirk Douglas was an American actor and director who rose to stardom from humble beginnings. His breakthrough role came in The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, where he starred alongside Barbara Stanwyck. This role quickly launched him into the limelight, but that was only the beginning. From there, he built a reputation in a wide range of serious films during the 1950s. We are talking dramas, westerns, and war movies. In films like The Gunfight at the OK Corral and The War Wagon, Douglas demonstrated a fast and efficient draw that matched the intensity of his characters. His quick draw was an essential aspect of his western roles. It no doubt gave him an edge in tense standoffs and also added to the overall thrill of his performances. Though his draw may not have been as consistently measured or practiced as other professional fast draw artists, Douglas goes down in history for being meticulous in his preparations for roles. His diligent training involved a mix of employing fast draw trainers and stunt coordinators to perfect his technique. It was also a top priority that his movements were sharp, fast, and believable on screen. One thing that set Douglas apart was his physicality and the way he brought a sense of danger and intensity to his characters. His speed with a gun was more than just about timing. It was about portraying a rugged, confident gunslinger who could hold his own in any showdown. His drawing was always deliberate and combined with his fierce expressions and strong body language. As you can imagine, it made for compelling scenes that left a lasting impression on audiences. While Kirk Douglas may not have been the fastest draw in the technical sense compared to professionals, he had a respectable and convincing quick draw style that enhanced his performances. Toward the end of his illustrious career, Douglas received numerous accolades, including the Kennedy Center Honors in 1994, an Honorary Academy Award in 1996, the National Medal of Arts in 2001, and the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award in 1991. With such an impressive list of honors, it's hard not to be amazed by his achievements. Kirk Douglas was 103 years old when he passed away in February 2020.
Every time you pull a hammer back, it puts a new round in position.
Round?
A bullet.
Oh.
What's this? Move over, Johnny.
Number 8. Arno Ojala. This legendary figure in the world of fast draw is considered one of the most skilled and influential gunmen in Hollywood. He was not only an actor, but also a technical advisor and trainer for countless westerns. One reason Hollywood could not get enough of him? That would be his precise and incredibly fast gun draw. Born on February 21, 1920, Arno Ojala would grow to become a Hollywood legend. This versatile actor not only worked as a technical advisor for fast draw revolver feats, but also appeared in front of the camera on multiple occasions. You might remember him as the untamed individual shot by Marshal Matt Dillon in the opening moments of the long-running television drama Gunsmoke. In this sequence, Ojala executes a lightning-fast draw, but is outgunned by Arness, a rare instance where he lost a gunfight, at least in terms of the script, but that was just for show. In reality, when it came to the genuine art of quick draw, Ojala was the go-to expert during the golden years of television westerns in the 1950s and 1960s. In fact, he was dubbed the Maestro of Rapid Draw. We mean not everyone can master a speed that was measured and confirmed at a mere 1/6 of a second to pull out his handgun, shoot, and hit the target with precision. Ojala's expertise in fast draw shooting was both technical and practical. He developed a specialized technique that emphasized both speed and safety, allowing actors to draw a gun quickly without accidentally discharging it. He perfected his own draw to a remarkable speed of about 0.25 seconds, which was one of the fastest times recorded in Hollywood. His skill was unparalleled, and he became the go-to consultant for actors who needed to learn how to handle firearms convincingly on screen. Wondering what his secret was? Ojala's game-changing method involved cocking his gun holster as he drew. This was showcased in films like The Tin Star, starring Henry Fonda, and The Restless Gun, starring John Payne. Before long, his innovative technique revolutionized the way quick draw scenes were filmed. You can see how he became a sought-after expert in the industry, right? Let's throw it back to his iconic quick draw fight with James Arness's character Dillon on the streets of Dodge City. This scene particularly cemented his status as a historical figure when it comes to fast draws. At the height of television westerns, Ojala was earning residuals of $100 per appearance. Remember, this was big money back in the day. Ojala's impact on the film industry extended beyond his on-screen appearances. He eventually established a quick draw studio on the Sunset Strip near the famous King Cellar liquor store. There, he taught his techniques to some of Hollywood's biggest stars. His A-list students included James Arness, Robert Culp, James Garner, Kevin Kline, and even Paul McCartney. His influence extended beyond mere gun handling, as he taught actors to embody the posture, confidence, and timing essential to playing a convincing cowboy or gunslinger. As a gun expert, he worked on numerous films, including The War Wagon, Silverado, Three Amigos, and Back to the Future Part 3. Arno Ojala's legacy continues to inspire filmmakers and actors to this day, and his contributions to the world of quick draw remain unmatched.
As I walked out in Laredo one day.
Number 7. Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. was widely recognized not just for his immense talents in music, dance, and acting, but also for his remarkable skills as a fast draw artist. While rumor has it that comedian Jerry Lewis was the fastest star in Hollywood, Sammy Davis Jr. wasn't far behind. Interestingly, this actor, singer, and dancer learned the art of the quick draw from veteran stuntman and marksman Arno Ojala. Over the years, Ojala trained many notable actors in the rapid draw, including James Arness, Robert Culp, James Garner, Paul Newman, Hugh O'Brien, and Clint Walker. Notably, Sammy Davis Jr. was one of his best students with a draw speed clocked between 0.4 and 0.45 seconds. Though Davis only starred in one Western film, One More Time in 1974, he frequently demonstrated his shooting abilities on television westerns such as Zane Grey Theater, Lawman, and The Rifleman. He also showcased his impressive skills on various talk shows throughout his career. As you can imagine, his interest in quick draw shooting was more than a casual hobby. Davis became one of Hollywood's fastest and most accurate gunmen, with a reputation for outdrawing others with impressive speed. Davis's fast draw abilities were highly regarded in the entertainment industry, and he competed with both professionals and amateur marksmen. He spent years perfecting the skill, reportedly reaching speeds that rivaled or exceeded some of the best in the field. His draw record presents such a competitive speed that can rival any fast draw enthusiast. His skill was so refined that it became part of his stage performances, and he would sometimes demonstrate his ability to draw and fire a gun with incredible precision during live shows or television appearances. The entertainment press of the time marveled at his expertise, and he even appeared on Western TV shows like Bonanza and The Rifleman, where he particularly got to show off his drawing skills. Sammy Davis Jr.'s success in fast draw competitions showed his dedication to mastering this craft, a reflection of his broader talent and discipline. His work ethic, combined with his dexterity and timing as a performer, made him a standout figure even in this niche. Given his status as an entertainer and cultural icon, Davis helped to bring attention to the fast draw art form. By popularizing it in the 1950s and 1960s, while also dispelling stereotypes by excelling in a domain that was often dominated by white actors in westerns, Davis more than earned his spot on this list. Number 6. Clint Eastwood. Known for his calm, stoic demeanor and sharp gun handling skills, there is no denying that Clint Eastwood was one of the most iconic actors in the history of westerns. While Eastwood may not be compared to specialists like Arno Ojala or Sammy Davis Jr., his quick draw was an essential part of his cinematic persona, particularly in Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns. As you are about to see, Clint Eastwood's reputation as a fast draw wasn't solely about speed. It was about the entire cinematic experience he created around it. What thrills us most are the key elements of Clint Eastwood's fast draw. On this note, we will begin with his precision and style. Eastwood's fast draw wasn't just about raw speed, but also about precision and the cool, controlled manner in which he executed it. His characters, especially in films like A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, were all known for being calm under pressure. This typically made their fast draw moments all the more dramatic. Eastwood's ability to maintain perfect timing, even under the tension of standoffs, made his draw appear effortless. Which brings us to the tension building. What made Eastwood's draw particularly memorable was his use of tension before the draw. Leone's films often had long, drawn-out moments where the camera focused on the gunslinger's eyes and hands. While this built anticipation for the moment, Eastwood particularly mastered the art of making his move the right way. When he did, his movements were swift, fluid, and decisive, which only made his character seem faster than he might have been in reality. Eastwood worked with professionals like Arno Ojala to perfect his technique. Eastwood's most famous roles often involved classic standoffs where his draw speed was tested against opponents. Let's consider his role in For a Few Dollars More. His character, Manco, faces off against Lee Van Cleef's Colonel Mortimer. Both showed considerable speed and accuracy. Later, in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Eastwood's final three-way duel is a masterclass in tension and fast draw. Watching that scene, you can just see that this speed and timing defined the outcome of the draw. However, while some actors focused on just raw speed, Eastwood's approach to the fast draw was more grounded and realistic. He didn't always go for flashy or overly exaggerated movements. Instead, he relied on a deliberate and measured approach that felt natural. The fact that it somehow managed to fit the tough, no-nonsense personas he portrayed was just a plus.
For breakfast, you're trying to stop me. I guess you dig some learning.
Number 5. James Arness. Best known for his role as Marshal Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke, James Arness became one of the most iconic figures in television westerns. Over the 20-year run of Gunsmoke, 1955 to 1975, Arness's fast draw became an essential part of his character's appeal. If this doesn't earn him a spot as one of the most respected gunslingers in Hollywood history, then we don't know what will. Arness's draw was notably fast, especially considering his tall and imposing stature. He stood 6'7". Even better, his drawing was not only quick, but also controlled, adding to the realism of his character as a lawman who had to act swiftly and decisively in life-or-death situations. While his exact draw speed isn't as frequently documented as other fast draw experts, Arness was consistently able to outdraw many opponents on screen. That said, his precision and ability to smoothly pull and fire his weapon, often in tense confrontations, were hallmarks of his role. One of the most memorable showcases of Arness's fast draw was the opening sequence of Gunsmoke, where he faces off in a gunfight. His opponent in the scene was none other than Arno Ojala, the legendary fast draw artist who also trained many Hollywood actors. In this scene, Arness outdraws Ojala, which served to highlight Marshal Dillon's authority and prowess. This sequence played at the start of each episode for several seasons, and in the process, it fostered Arness's gun-handling skills and prowess. For 2 decades, Arness portrayed Marshal Matt Dillon, and in nearly every episode, he demonstrated his fast draw skills. Want to know what was truly remarkable? It is how consistent his ability remained throughout the show's run. Despite the physical demands of the role, Arness continued to perform rapid draws into his 50s, maintaining the toughness and capability of the character. Arness took his role as Marshal Dillon seriously, which included extensive firearms training to make his draw look both natural and efficient. Arness worked with technical advisors like Arno Ojala to refine his fast draw skills. Ojala's guidance ensured that Arness's draw was not only fast, but safe and convincing. While some actors emphasized flair or flash in their gunfights, Arness's fast draw was grounded in realism. His movements were deliberate, but still fast enough to be effective in the high-stakes showdowns his character frequently faced. Rather than flashy tricks, Arness relied on economy of motion, which only added to the credibility of his portrayal as a seasoned lawman who had to be ready to draw and fire at a moment's notice. At the end of the day, the name James Arness became synonymous with the Western lawman archetype, and it was all thanks to his fast drawing as well as his calm, authoritative screen presence. Over the years, Arness's fast draw became an iconic part of the Gunsmoke legacy. With a fastest draw record set at around 0.3 seconds, he has since solidified his position as one of the fastest and most reliable gunslingers in Hollywood.
I told you to get out of here.
Number 4. Aie Murphy. Did you know that Aie Murphy was one of the most decorated American soldiers of World War II? Even better, he channeled this real-life combat experience into a successful career as an actor, particularly in westerns. Murphy's military background gave him an edge when it came to firearms handling, and he became known for his quick draw and realistic gunfighting skills on screen. Although not as widely recognized in the fast draw subculture as professionals like Arno Ojala, Murphy's combination of real-life combat reflexes and training allowed him to become one of the fastest and most believable gunfighters in Hollywood. One thing we know for sure is that Murphy's ability with firearms wasn't just a product of Hollywood training. It came from real-life experience in high-pressure and life-or-death situations. As a combat veteran, he was used to handling weapons with speed and precision. This experience naturally translated into a fast and controlled gun draw in his film roles. His familiarity with guns, combined with the discipline and reflexes honed in battle, gave him an authentic edge that few actors could match. Murphy was known for having quick reflexes and sharp instincts. Unlike some actors who relied solely on training for fast draw scenes, Murphy's speed came from a deep understanding of firearms and quick decision-making in combat situations. His fast draw was natural, fluid, and effective, making him a believable Western hero or anti-hero. Another standout thing about him was how he never relied on flashy moves. While some fast draw artists in Hollywood emphasized flashy techniques or dramatic flourishes, Murphy's style was more grounded. His draw was efficient, with no wasted motion, reflecting the practical need for speed and accuracy in real-world gunfights. This approach gave his characters a no-nonsense toughness, fitting his persona as a man who had seen real combat and knew the importance of getting it right the first time. In films like The Quick Gun, No Name on the Bullet, and The Red Badge of Courage, Murphy's characters often engaged in fast-draw gunfights. In these films, you can see his speed and accuracy on full display. In The Quick Gun, for example, his character's deadly speed with a gun was central to the plot, and his quick-draw abilities were a crucial part of the action. Murphy wasn't just fast, he was also remarkably accurate. His draw-to-shot timing was highly efficient and often portrayed in films as nearly instantaneous. This combination of speed and precision was crucial in westerns. We mean, didn't the western duels mostly come down to who could draw and fire the fastest? So you can see how Murphy's real-life marksmanship ensured that his on-screen shots were believable. Murphy's reputation for speed with a gun helped build his persona as a tough, capable, and dangerous man in his western roles. His fast draw, combined with his calm and stoic screen presence, made him one of the most believable gunfighters of his era. While Murphy's drawing may not have been the flashiest, it was arguably one of the most realistic and effective, contributing to his lasting legacy as both a war hero and a Western icon. If you made it this far, do hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates from us. Number 3. Roy Rogers. Did you think the King of Cowboys wasn't making this list? Yes, Rogers was a beloved figure in Western films and television from the 1930s to the 1950s. Earning himself the moniker King of the Cowboys definitely took some work. From his singing to his wholesome heroic persona, not to mention his gritty fast-draw gunfights, Rogers was just that guy. Though his style was more family-friendly and less intense than that of some of his contemporaries, his fast draw became an integral part of his on-screen image as a heroic cowboy. He was unofficially timed to be among the fastest of his era. Rogers' fast draw was not only quick, but also clean and controlled. It reflected his polished, all-American cowboy image. Notably, his films often downplayed violent or overly intense gunfights in favor of a more lighthearted, adventurous narrative. Still, Rogers demonstrated a competent and reliable draw every time. Unlike other Western stars who portrayed hardened gunslingers or lawmen in tense, high-stake duels, Rogers' characters were often depicted as heroic cowboys who fought for justice in a more morally straightforward manner. His fast-draw scenes typically lacked the brutal tension of a showdown in a spaghetti western, but one thing was certain: he could still display quick reflexes when required. His fast draw was part of a broader, more playful action style where justice was swiftly served, but in a less lethal or intimidating way. You can already see how much of Rogers' appeal came from his status as a role model for younger viewers. He cultivated a family-friendly image, and his fast draw skills were presented as part of his virtuous cowboy persona. Rogers made gunplay look accessible and even fun, with his actions always rooted in justice and fairness. His fast drawing contributed to his larger-than-life hero image, but it was often accompanied by a sense of honor and restraint. Throughout his long career in films and later in his television show, The Roy Rogers Show, which aired from 1951 to 1957, Rogers frequently engaged in gunfights that showcased his fast draw. In these scenes, his draw was always portrayed as quick, with a focus on disarming or neutralizing the threat rather than inflicting harm. His characters were rarely depicted as ruthless, but rather as calm, quick-thinking heroes who could outdraw the bad guys without hesitation. You could also say that Rogers was a showman at heart. His fast drawing often reflected the theatricality that was central to his career. Whether in films or live performances, he would sometimes integrate his fast draw with other elements of cowboy entertainment like horseback riding and singing. His legacy in the world of fast drawing? Rogers proved without a shadow of a doubt that even in a more sanitized, entertainment-focused version of the Old West, a fast gun was still an essential part of the cowboy persona.
Keep your face down.
Number 2. Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen was often hailed as the king of cool, and it isn't hard to see why. We mean he brought on a unique and intense charisma to his Western roles, even down to his gun handling skills. Though best known for his anti-hero persona and roles in action-packed films, McQueen was also highly skilled with firearms and was regarded as one of the fastest draws in Hollywood. His performances in films like The Magnificent Seven and Wanted Dead or Alive solidified his reputation as a capable and quick gunfighter. On that note, we can't help but praise his natural athleticism and precision. McQueen's background in martial arts, racing, and other physically demanding activities contributed to his ability to move quickly and with precision. His fast draw reflected his natural athleticism, as his movements were fluid, smooth, and powerful. McQueen's ability to combine speed with precision made his fast draw look effortless. As you can imagine, this added to his cool factor on screen. McQueen's fast draw was distinctive for its no-nonsense, efficient approach. He wasn't flashy or theatrical like some actors, but his drawing was deadly quick and always with purpose. His fast draw was often used as a reflection of his characters, men who didn't talk much but acted decisively when needed. This understated style surely helped reinforce the tough, cool, and quiet persona that defined many of McQueen's roles. One of McQueen's most famous roles as a gunfighter came in the TV show Wanted Dead or Alive. From 1958 to 1961, he played bounty hunter Josh Randall. McQueen's character carried a sawed-off Winchester rifle called the Mare's Leg, and the show often highlighted his fast draw skills. Despite using a non-traditional firearm for Westerners, McQueen demonstrated impressive speed and proficiency in drawing and firing the weapon, contributing to the iconic status of both his character and the show. McQueen's gun handling skills were just one element of his larger, rebellious, and cool on-screen presence, but they played a crucial role in defining his legacy as one of the most compelling stars of his era. To conclude our list, we have the man often cited as the fastest gun draw in Hollywood history.
I'd try to understand that if I were you.
Number 1. Glenn Ford. Yes, Glenn Ford. His name might not be as popular as some others on this list, but many Western directors and co-stars noted his quick draw. Glenn Ford has since been regarded as one of the fastest and most authentic gunfighters in Hollywood, particularly during the golden age of Western films. His quick draw abilities became legendary, and many of his contemporaries, including professional fast draw artists, acknowledged his exceptional speed and technique. Want to see more of his quick draw prowess? You can kick it back by watching his performances in classic westerns like 3:10 to Yuma, The Fastest Gun Alive, and Cowboy. We mean he was so good that his fast drawing became a defining feature of his on-screen persona. So just how fast was he? Well, some accounts suggest that Ford could draw and fire his gun in less than 0.4 seconds. This is incredibly fast, even by professional standards. While he may not have been as well known for his fast draw expertise outside of acting circles, those within the industry often cited Ford as having one of the quickest and most accurate draws. One of Ford's most famous films, The Fastest Gun Alive, showcased his quick draw ability in a story centered around a gunslinger who tries to escape his violent past. In this film, Ford's character, George Temple, is known for his extraordinary speed with a gun, and the climax of the movie hinges on his draw speed during a dramatic showdown. This role no doubt cemented Ford's image as a lightning-fast gunfighter in the public consciousness. In many westerns, his characters were reluctant heroes, forced into action only when absolutely necessary. This quiet confidence added tension to his gunfights, as the audience knew that when Ford's character finally drew his gun, he would do so with lethal speed and accuracy. Interestingly, Ford's quick draw ability wasn't just a product of training, it was a natural talent that he honed over time. He also didn't rely on exaggerated movements or flashy tricks. Rather than theatrics, his drawing was smooth, efficient, and realistic. It reflected the kind of understated toughness his characters often embodied. This authenticity made his gunfights feel grounded and believable. Glenn Ford worked with top fast draw trainers and gunslinging experts to perfect his technique. His technical precision set him apart from many of his peers in the Western genre. Ford's gun handling was known for being clean and controlled with minimal wasted motion. This focus on efficiency, combined with his natural speed, allowed him to excel in fast draw sequences where timing was everything. Ford's fast draw ability was so respected that it influenced other actors in the genre. He became a reference point for those looking to improve their own draw speeds. So, while many actors portrayed fast draw gunfighters, Glenn Ford's realism, skill, and reputation as one of the fastest in the business made him a standout in Hollywood history. Ford decided to step away from acting in 1991 at the age of 75 due to his heart condition. He passed away in August 2006 at the age of 90, leaving behind a legacy as one of Hollywood's most iconic leading men. Despite the rugged persona he often portrayed on screen, Ford was remembered by his colleagues as a humble and kind person who brought an effortless realism to his roles. His extraordinary career and lasting influence continue to inspire new generations of actors and filmmakers. And that wraps up our list of the top 10 fastest gun-drawing actors in Western history. Whether you're a fan of timeless Western classics or high-octane action movies, we hope you enjoyed this exciting countdown. Which of these actors impressed you the most? Do share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. You also can't miss the video on screen.